I mean, if you think about top of off, that's missed the top of the off stump height-wise by maybe half a meter to a meter. So he just wants to...
For the real miracle ball, the big swinger, and it's clipped away nicely for the first boundary of the morning.
So looking to make the adjustments, looking to get things in the right place. He searched for the fuller one, but unfortunately for KG Rabada, he's now fired it down the leg stump. That one probably would have clipped leg stump, but he'll be disappointed with that. He's a better bowler. He knows how to make those adjustments as he goes along. That's a bit of a freebie.
It's a probing opening over from Rabada. 2 done. It's 7 for none. South Africa have made mention in the press conference after the game, and certainly Temba Bavuma at the toss this morning, is how disappointed they were that the new ball couldn't strike. It was 20 overs before they got a wicket. Out of that 314 for 7, that great opening partnership, Tamim Iqbal's 40 and a 50 from Litton Das, enabled Yasser Ali and Shakib Al Hassan to attack the middle overs. It was an outstanding batting performance. And these two played no small role. Litton Das and Tamim Iqbal saw off the new ball and enabled that middle order to play with freedom. Here's Ngidi trying to build up a head of steam. Goes to Tamim. There's the bounce that all of South African quicks are looking for. Glove height as it spat off a length.
Yeah, that's the kind of a line and the length that the bowlers would be targeting. And it's just, again, that extra bounce. Good seam position. It comes back in, hits him on the gloves. Or maybe a touch short still. Could have been a little bit more fuller. Invite him to drive through the cover area and just try to open the gap between the bat and the pad. Look how high it has hit him.
In the air, it's going to be out. It's going to be taken as simple as you like. The extra bounce from Ngidi, it's caught the shoulder of the bat and it's looped to point, and that's an early strike for South Africa.
There's plenty of assistance. We saw the last one wrap the gloves. This one bounces steeply as well. And the nature of this opening partnership, Tamim Iqbal is the guy who will get forward. He'll plant his front foot, look to be getting onto that front foot. And that's why that length from Ngidi is good. It bounces steeply, takes the shoulder of the bat, and you can't get an easier catch for Keshav Maharaj at backward point. Just a few steps in, waltzes in, takes it comfortably. And South Africa, they need to bounce back in this match, and they've started off well with Lungi Ngidi striking, getting there first. 7 for 1. Tamim Iqbal goes for just the 1 run.
A different day, a different match, a different approach. It's got a little bit more bounce this surface, and as you said, Sean, about adjusting to a particular batsman, Litton Das might hang back in the crease, and Malbon Atapatu might hang back in the crease. Tamim gets well forward, so that length's not so bad to him because the bounce undid him.
That's perfect. He will push hard. He'll be out in front of himself. We saw in the last match we had the interception points of the two batters. Litton Das was very much later. He waits for the ball to come to him. He stays on that back foot. Not Tamim Iqbal. He plants that front foot and looks to lunge. Almost gets those sparks into your face. And that's why if it's a decent length and you're getting extra bounce, it can do the trick. Here's the big man for Bangladesh and the big wicket for South Africa.
A very different situation for Shakib Al Hassan. It's not about the freedom to enable him to decide to attack early. Now he's got to absorb a bit of pressure because he's out there against the new ball. But what numbers those are.
Center.
It's about how he handles himself early on. Remember, 95 runs opening partnership was in the last match, not this time around. So be facing up to some really good stuff from the bowlers early on. And that will be the key, how to bat in that first half an hour or so. You got to pick up the right ones to leave and pick up the right ones to play. Yes, there is extra bounce. And you got to make sure that you go right behind it. Have a look at that first delivery that he plays. He knows it's coming back, but then just leaves it straight to the keeper.
More importantly, did you see the little shuffle? You got a little shuffle on for the first delivery down the wicket. He'll ask you, so what will his game plan in these situations? Does he go a little bit more reserved and more watchful, or does he continue to be positive?
I think once he play a few deliveries, then he'll get the hang of it, what needs to be done. He's an aggressive player. He's got a very aggressive mindset. Have a look at that bounce. Comes back in, and in no man's land. He doesn't know what's going on. He just looks up and it's spooned up straight into the hands of Keshav Maharaj. Lovely delivery. Extra bite in that delivery. Extra bounce. That's the trick.
Just got a thought for both of you. In South Africa's team selection, we were speaking about the unusual fact that they've picked two spinners at Wanderers. Not second guessing them, but you've just seen this extra bounce in the first 2 overs, and you've got the tallest man probably in world cricket now that you've left out from Supersport Park. Wouldn't Janssen have enjoyed a bowl on this?
Yeah, I think if you said to me Janssen's first spell, South Africa would love to grab that, but I suppose it was this last 20 overs of the innings that they felt like they lacked something, and they didn't really have maybe a bit of mystery, and that's maybe why they've gone for Shamsi. But 100%, while their ball's new, continues to bounce that we've seen from Lungi in this over, they would have loved to have his service. 7 point.
Good start this by South Africa. The tone setter was the wide off the first ball. They've put that to bed and found a length and found a good pace. Ngidi up to the mid-130s, and he's got some really good bounce, and it's that bounce that was the undoing of Turnip. Shoulder of the bat coming forward. Simple catch to Maharaj. Big wicket, South Africa. So very different. The 95-run first wicket partnership of Friday has now been forgotten because already it's been broken here. Here's Rabada. Squirts off the outside half down towards third man. Is that your length, Sean?
Yeah, that's the length I like for KG to Luton Dust. I think that's the perfect length. Just getting him pushing forward brings the two slips into play. And if you get that ball to misbehave or shape a little bit more, the slips are in business.
Now, if there was a chink in the Shakib armour on Friday night in that magnificent innings, it was when they went head height, throat height. Do you think we'll see a bit of that early?
I think it definitely would be part of the plans. I think that in many ways they would like the opportunity to put two men back, because he's not one of those guys just going to sway out of the way of it. He'll look to take it on. I'm sure they'll get one in early.
This does look a different picture altogether, just compared to the ones what we saw in the first match. That one looked a little bit more flatter. Ball was coming nicely onto that, but definitely different conditions here. Ball is moving, it's seaming. We've already spoken about the bounce, so you need to change your method, how you bat, especially early on.
In the air and taken. Playing to the onside, leading edge. It's a loop away to the offside, but Garena had to make ground, and he's taken a good catch. Despair for those Bangladeshis, because Shakib is gone for naught, and the visitors are in trouble at 8 for 2.
It's the extra bounce again, the hard kookaburra, the pronounced seam, and on the surface South Africa's bowlers are getting the ball to stand up sharply. It's the leading edge on a pitch where it is bouncing. You have to try and play as straight as possible. You can't afford to be turning it to the one side. It turns that bat too early, gets the leading edge. A good catch in the end by Garena. He was getting in as close as he possibly could to cut off singles. Popped over his head, he adjusted, he had the sun to deal with, and that's a massive blow for South Africa. The hero for Bangladesh from the last game goes without scoring. 8 for 2.
It's just the bounce that was absent at Supersport Park has proved to be the undoing of the two Bangladeshis here at Wanderers.
I think having a look at what Shakib Al Hasan did, you mentioned, Sean Pollock, that early on you got to target down the ground, mid-on, mid-off. So he's just trying to close the face of the bat a little bit too early, and obviously the bounce also. Difficult conditions, and they lose a very, very important wicket of Shakib Al Hasan. Disappointment in the crowd. Shoaib Ali, he is everywhere. Team goes, he follows the team, and high hopes, but at the moment repair work to be done, and in comes Mr. Dependable, Mushfiqur Rahim, who missed out in the first one-day international. Not an easy pitch to bat on. A lot of hard work to be done here.
Here's the numbers for Mushfiqur Rahim. Very good record, approaching 7,000 runs. 232nd match. I mean, they've got so much experience in this top six in the Bangladesh batting lineup, and they're going to need all that experience this morning because they've got a very different situation, very different conditions from Supersport Park the other evening. An extra slip has been posted in the corner, and they've got a 7-2 offside field as Rabada goes to Mushfiqur.
I think this is the challenge, and it's always going to be for Shakib Al Hasan. When he bats in the test matches, often it would have been in the middle order, and even growing up playing for Bangladesh, he was started in the middle order. It's the adjustment to go at number 3, and it's fine when you've got flatter surfaces in Bangladesh or some of the flatter surfaces around the world. But technique-wise, you'll always be challenged on, say, a quick wicket in England, South Africa or Australia. And I think he's just been caught a little bit unawares. You can't be affording to flick that as square as he was. Got to try and keep that bat as straight as possible up front.
You speak about batting techniques, Sean, and it's already noticeable where Mushfiqur is looking to play Rabada from. His feet are between the two creases. He's not getting forward.
Yeah, it was something that we actually used to always be aware of. Obviously, with the amount of cricket we played with Jacques Ellis, we knew where he loved to score his first 5 or 10 runs in a one-day international. And he'd like to just get it down to third man, just knock it in that gully area. And there wasn't often people who squashed that area for him. There wasn't often a team that would select and put a person at a fourth slip to make sure he couldn't. And South Africa have done that. 8 for 2.
Super start by the home side, having to win, not only to keep the series alive, but the desperate lack of points South Africa have in the ICC Cricket World Cup Super League standings. Bangladesh atop that log, South Africa way down in 10th position. India are already through because they're hosting, so you've got to get yourself in the top 7. South Africa are way off that. Two talismanic players already dismissed. The two left-handers, Tamim Iqbal, the captain, and the all-rounder Shakib Al Hasan, the man of the match from the other evening. Here's Ngidi, who's tasted success. There is certainly perturbing bounce for these Bangladeshi batsmen.
The average bounce in the first 5 overs in the first ODI. These are the comparisons. Have a look at that. Have a look at the. Keep an eye on how far it is from above the stumps. Just a bit more this time around, and that's the reason why bowlers have decided to just pitch it in that good length area to ensure that if they get a steep bounce, and then they're in business. They've already picked up 2 wickets.
Good leave. I think we're going to see more of that as they try and rebuild this partnership.
I think if you look closely of how these two bat, Liton Kumar Das and Mushfiqur Rahim, they don't really come and try to reach for the ball. They're waiting in the crease. But if you look at what did Shakib Al Hasan and Tamim Iqbal did, they come and reach out and try to go and try to play off the front foot, which is at times difficult, especially in these conditions.
Beauty, beauty. Caught him on the crease and there was a hint of movement.
Yeah, I think South Africa have adjusted nicely. Got the initial bonus of picking up those early wickets, but they'll be feeling really comfortable about the job at hand now. They realise there's assistance. You saw in the last game a lot of seam positions from Lungi Ngidi trying to get the ball to nip back at the right-handers, but have a look at that one. He's trying to shape that away. He wants to bring those slips. He wants to get the away movement. So it's a different game plan. Not trying to cramp them up for space. It's now trying to take wickets, and there's enough in the surface for that game plan to be backed up.
Good hand, good hand. Importantly, the left-hand side of the backward point fielder, Maharaj. And that's good too, because whilst they obviously mindful they're 2 down, they want to keep that board ticking, and sharpness on the single, preventing it. It's good cricket from South Africa.
It was good, particularly to a right-hand batsman when your right arm seamer to have a left-hander at backward point. For that exact reason, strong arm goes out. Often a lot of balls go behind square, get squirted in that area. And that was a good stop. Keep the pressure on the batters.
The counter to that, Sean, is often, and we're going back to one of the best there ever is in the field, Jonty Rhodes. He would be at an angle, almost gully angle, so that he would be always going to his right, and then the ability to dive to his right, get to his knees, and be up in the momentum or going towards the non-striker's end.
We used to call him the rubber man, because as he went down, he almost like he bounced straight up. But yeah, he was just brilliant. I mean, he took fielding to the next level. It was probably as good, I would have to define it, as a stopper. You didn't get past the goalkeeper at backward point. There might have been better guys at picking up the ball and hitting the stumps, but as far as a stopper in that position, he was brilliant.
Oh, over the top and sweetly for a boundary. It's 12 for 2.
Yeah, no surprise to see that.
Showfest brings to you Arijit Singh live in concert.
Hello North America, this is Arijit Singh and I'm really excited to be performing in your city very soon with Showfest. You can log on to www.showfest.com and grab your favorite spots.
More machines. Play online with your friends. Destroy your enemies. Experience massive battles. Available on the App Store and on Google Play.
That bedeviled South Africa in the first ODI, Sean, the last ball of the over boundary, lives on.
Yeah, you don't want them to get in a bit of an issue about it. Let's try and put it behind them.
Here's Rabada.
And have a look at how he played that delivery. It was close onto the stumps, but he realized that it's bouncing, so he just lets it go over the top of the stumps. So this is good technique from Mushfiqur Rahim. Have a look at that. That's not by much, but still decides to leave it. And even you see it going straight to the keeper without touching the stumps, that's a good lead.
In the air, Brown past backward point. There's the dive. That's a very good piece of fielding. They're back for 2.
Yeah, that's brilliant from Lungi. He'll be a little bit hot under the collar, having bowled some overs, but still the energy to get around and not only to make the initial save, but have the presence of mind to make the adjusted save as well. Short and wide, that one. KGB want to be tighter on the stumps.
Default, as Sean said earlier, is to go back of a length, but on this surface with that extra bounce, you want to be fuller. They're just inspecting. There's the save. And they've put that to bed quickly.
Yeah, so you talked about the technique and the way that delivery by Mr. Fakur was left, and it's not something that you'd have grown up doing much of in Bangladesh, because you can't at times trust the bounce. A lot of Australian batsmen will leave the ball in this fashion. So have a look. It's a decent length delivery, but you take your bat up and out the way. And that's something that you only really learn on bouncy surfaces, whereas on the flatter ones you often see the guys just pull it like a curtain out the way and let the ball go through. So that's what you do learn as you go around the world, just to trust different techniques, and you can trust the bounce at the Wanderers. That's a foolish length. That's probably hitting the top of off in Bangladesh. You're looking to play at that. But to take the bat way out of the way, often like someone like Matthew Hayden used to do.
Clipped away with not a great deal of conviction by Mushfiqur. Thought it might have just been thigh pad. Wasn't the case. Again, he indicates it's the extra bounce that's unsettling.
I think what has happened and helped the Bangladesh team to get used to this condition is that they've started to play on green top wickets in domestic competition for the last couple of years. And that has helped them grow in confidence and get used to this condition and get used to the bounce. Even in Mirpur, home of cricket in Dhaka, and end of the over, 15 for 2. And in that last series against Afghanistan, where we played 3 ODIs and a couple of T20 international, we played on green tops. So they have started to realize that's not only about getting used to the conditions at home condition and getting the teams coming over and play it on and beat them fair and squarely, but it's also getting used to these conditions. When you start doing that, you will start winning matches overseas. And that's a very good thing for Bangladesh.
Next up.
Here is the look at the ICC Cricket World Cup Super League standings. Bangladesh right on top, way ahead. South Africa languishing in the depths. It's a big sample size now. It's 11 matches played by the home side. Bangladesh playing 16. South Africa desperately need points. India, the hosts, they're in. So effectively it would be top 8, but it's going to be top 7 you're probably going to have to be in to automatically qualify for that World Cup without having to go through a very testing and nerve-wracking qualifying stage.
Sitting right at the top of the points table, Brett.
You're saying that with your chest out, a little bit of pride.
a lot of pride.
A lot of pride, yeah. Just happening between overs, just a bit of a knee spray for Lungi Ngidi. That's worrying for South Africa. Their big fast bowler, who is bedeviled by injury. He's always seemingly troubled with a couple of games off at regular intervals. Here he goes. And Sean, we were questioning his speeds being down. That may be the explanation. Just got a knee problem.
Yeah, it could have been through the dive, though, where he went to save that one in the boundary. There's a good chance. I mean, he's left a bit of a divot there as I look down onto the ground. So the contact might have been a bit painful. There, as down onto the ground. So the contact might have been a bit painful. There, as down onto the ground. So the contact might have been a bit painful.
Akib Al Hassan getting dismissed in that similar kind of fashion, trying to close the face of the bat. So I think they need to have a bit of a chat in between. I see now both players getting in the middle. Just again, it's the bounce. Have a look at that. Just the bottom of the handle. But instead of trying to close the face of the bat, much better way to cope up with these kind of deliveries if you present the full face of the bat. Yes, it is high, but that will not allow the ball to go towards the fielder. But once you're trying to just close the face of the bat, you never know. Why take that chance?
Super delivery. Super delivery. Bit of movement and the bounce of which we speak.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Maybe it could be put to a meter, and it'll make a big difference. We often harp on it up here in the commentary box. We often harp.
We always do, searching for that perfection. It's also where Mushfiqur's batting. He's really between the creases. Oh, over the top. I think there was a hand there. Again, the stroke played, this time on the shortness of length. And they're coming back for a third.
That could have easily been another wicket here. And he reached
Oh, that looks like another wicket. Yeah, it's definitely the glove. This is a superb start for South Africa this morning. KG Rabada. So the intent from ball one.
Yeah, KG Rabada has been all over Litindas this morning. This time a little bit closer to the body. He tries to evade it, but he doesn't drop the hands. It just brushes the gloves on the way through, and a comfortable catch. Rabada gets his second wicket, and Bangladesh now 23 for 3.
And in trouble, big trouble. It's Liton Das gone for 15. 23 for 3 now.
Yasser Ali, new man to the crease.
Yeah, I really like this intent by KG Rabada. He's running in hard today, setting the tone for his team, making life real uncomfortable for the Bangladesh batters. Really like this length he's operating at, trying to get out of the way, but can't get the gloves out the way. That's as easy as going to get from Quinton de Kock.
It's going to be a different type of challenge for Yasser Ali today. Played really well in partnership with Shakib Al Hassan at Supersport Park during the first ODI of the series, but coming in at 23 for 3 today, it's going to present a different challenge.
Oh dear! Put down! Needed it, need this pressure to continue, but not been able to keep a hold of that. Yanaman Milan, Mushfiqu, correction, Yasser Ali escapes.
Yeah, he's in on that area again, KG Rabada, slightly fuller, not quite there, gone for the big drive. Wow. I feel that should have been taken by Yanaman Milan at first slip. Oh, almost waited for Temba to go for it. And that's always the danger. Just watch a wide ball by KG, but that's always the danger when you start out at the Wanderers, because there's an extra bit of bounce. As a batting unit, you have to adjust, you have to get used